The purpose of the warm-up is to release synovial fluid in the joints to prevent friction in the joint cavity, enhance the neuromuscular coordination by stimulating the motor units, increase body temperature and warm the muscles to prevent injury, gradually increase heart rate to deliver blood and oxygen to the muscles, increase range of motion, and mentally prepare you. Usually a 5 to 10 minute warm-up on a treadmill, elliptical, stationary bike, or rowing machine at a moderate speed will be enough to prepare your body for weight training. The warm-up should be intense enough to raise your heart rate, but not so intense as to activate lactic acid in the system. Another way of warming up would be using light weights, about 50% less than your usual working weight, and performing a high number of reps of the same exercise to warm up before your working sets. The treadmill is a very easy piece of equipment to use as it mimics an activity we do every day, but it does have many different functions, so it can become confusing at times. Before I start training my client on how to use the treadmill, I need to make sure I know all the proper controls myself. Before I train my client, I want to test out the machine. I want to increase and decrease the speed to make sure it's working, and test out the emergency brake. As you can see, there's lots of different buttons. There's buttons to increase and decrease intensity, increase and decrease the ramp of the treadmill. There is a heartbeat monitor, and there's different buttons so that you can adjust to set your goals. There also is a stop and a pause button. Once you are familiar with the functions, you can bring your client in, but before even mounting the machine, show them the simple controls like how to increase and decrease the speed and incline level, and of course the emergency stop button. Once you've showed them the controls, then get them to stand on the stand rails with one foot on either side of the belt. Once they are properly positioned, get your client to attach the emergency stop cord to their waist and press the start button. The machine will begin to move very slowly. To get used to the movement, get them to transfer their weight onto one foot and paw at the machine a couple of times. Repeat on either leg, and then when they are ready, they can dismount onto the moving belt while holding the handles on the side. Once they are comfortable with that, with their permission, slowly turn up the speed to a normal walking pace. And from this point, they can increase and decrease the speed and incline as they like. Well, your client is on the machine. You should be monitoring the position of your client on the treadmill. They should be right in the middle of the belt, not drifting off to the sides or to the rear of the machine. Monitor also the form of your client while using the treadmill. As always, they should maintain proper posture, make sure their scapula is retracted and depressed, their chest is up and lifted, and the core is contracted. If your client has lower back issues or arthritis, test the treadmill surface for rebound before starting. Sometimes the belt has too much cushioning, which can increase the bounce, causing more impact on the joints. When they are done, slowly decrease the speed and incline, then press the stop button and wait until it comes to a complete stop before dismount. A couple pros of using the treadmill are, it's very good for beginners, very convenient, it mimics everyday activity, it's very adjustable, there's rails and handles to prevent from losing balance, and the belt provides more cushion than pavement. Some cons of the machine are, it is a bit easier than running outdoors as you don't have to propel yourself forward, and it may get quite boring sometimes. The elliptical trainer is a great low-impact cardio option that can give you a full body workout. Again, before training your client on this machine, you must familiarize yourself with the controls and functions it may include. So we have a couple different buttons that you need to familiarize yourself with. So at the top you have the time, the calories burnt, and the distance you've traveled during your exercise. You also have heart rate, the level of effort that you want to use the machine at, and then just a couple of other different options to track your goals. Once familiarized, you may start to train your client. To begin, get your client to hold the stationary handles on the front of the machine for support. If standing to the left of the machine, they should place their left foot on the platform closest to them. If it's the right side, right foot on the closest platform. Have them slowly put their weight on the foot platform so they feel its movement, and step up once they are ready. When they are ready, they can begin pressing into the platform in a walking motion. Once they feel secure, they can move their hands to the moving handlebars if they'd like, to work a little bit of their upper body. If they don't feel comfortable with this step, let them keep their arms on the stable handles. Start out with a light resistance, of course, and increase as necessary. Of course, you want to monitor that your client's feet are staying on the platform at all times. This may feel uncomfortable at first because you have less control, but you will get used to it. Another thing you should monitor is the form of your client while using the elliptical. As always, they should maintain proper posture. Make sure their scapula is retracted and depressed, their chest is up and lifted, and the core is contracted. A couple of pros of using an elliptical machine are it allows the body to move in a natural way without impact, so it takes more stress off your legs and back. It's very adjustable. You can add resistance, increase the ramp, increase intensity. You control the pace that you are keeping. The machine can keep track of your progress. It's very convenient, and you can watch videos while doing exercise. And you have the option to get an upper body workout with the machine. And if you use the machine backwards, you can work different muscles in your legs. Some of the cons of using an elliptical trainer are, since the machine does allow less impact on the joints, it also requires less effort. It may get boring. It is one size fits all. And since you do set the pace yourself, you can easily slack off. To monitor exertion, the best method is to take the client's heart rate and to use a heart rate monitor to ensure that your client is hitting within their target zone. Exercise heart rate is the heart rate you want to hit when you exercise. There are two calculations for this. The first calculation is the full calculation method. The full calculation method is the most simplest method. It's basically you take the number 220 and minus it by your age, and you will get your maximum heart rate. You then take that maximum heart rate number and multiply it by the heart rate zone you want to train in. For example, if you wanted to train at a moderate level, I would suggest to aim to train in the 60 to 70% range. Therefore, you would multiply your maximum heart rate number by 0.6 to 0.75. The next most accurate method is the Karvonen method. With this method, you want to do the same thing as the full calculation method, so find your maximum heart rate. Then you're going to take that maximum heart rate and minus it by your resting heart rate to get your heart rate reverse. Then you're going to take that heart rate reverse and times it by the training target zone. Then add the resting heart rate to it again. To find that resting heart rate that I'm talking about, you're going to take your two main fingers and place them on the arterial vein in your neck. Please note in the name it is resting heart rate, so you definitely want to be rested while taking this heart rate. The best time to do this is right when you wake up in the morning. So once your fingers find the arterial vein, you're going to count how many times your heart beats in 10 seconds. You're going to times that number by 6, and that will equal your resting heart rate. So now you know the two methods to calculate your target heart rate. When using these two methods, the training percentage will differ depending on which method you use. Keep in mind the Karvonen method is more accurate. Of course, monitoring heart rate is not always an option for everyone. Therefore, there are a couple of other ways to monitor heart rate. Some other methods are the rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. The client rates how intense the exercise is on a scale of 0 to 10. 0, of course, being easy, and 10, of course, being extremely difficult. There's also the talk test. This depends on how difficult it is to carry a conversation during exercise. If the client is completely out of breath and cannot talk, it means the exercise was very intense. If the client can hold a full conversation during the workout without even taking a breath, the exercise may be too easy.